And we're back, and now we're joined by a special guest who has appeared on the show before and is here to talk to her about her life and her memoir, Being Seen, a memoir about me, an autistic mother, a French immigrant, and a Zen student. So
Wonderful.
she is all those things.
And she is. Welcome back to the show, Laure, Davin.
Shannon, and thank you to you too.
Nancy's, we're both thrilled to have you here with us. So, Anlor, it's been a little over a year, I think, since you've been on the show, and we reached out to you to see if you wanted to come back on because I kind of want an update. I want to know what's happening in your wonderful world and what you're up to. So, can you, as Nancy mentioned, are author of a wonderful book, Being Seen, and want to know how that's doing and if a lot of people are appreciating that and what you have going on in your world right now.
Well, I have been doing a lot of more and more. My life is really about merging autism and meditation.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a group called AuTSIT. And AuTSIT is made of two parts. The first part, which I usually lead, is a monthly meeting, meditation for autistic people and neurodiverse and sometimes allies or friends, well, same. And that happens in San Rafael, California, which is just north of San Francisco. And the second part is, which we just finished this weekend, is the yearly retreat. And that my partner, Greg Yates, helps me. He's also a self-advocate in the autism world. So, and for the retreat, it's in the South Lake Tahoe area, and it lasts 4 days.
What a wonderful thing. And who goes on that retreat?
So all the people on the autism spectrum. So, you know, it's in a cabin, so we only have, in terms of lodging and also the space, we can only accommodate between 5 and 7 people. So it's not that many, but it means it's lovely because it's very intimate and people just love it. I mean, each time when they make it, they just love it.
How have you integrated meditation with autism? How do those two intersect with each other?
So I know that I'm alive. First of all, I have to say how grateful I am to have a Zen practice, meditation practice, and how I integrate those two. I mean, my autism and the meditation. Well, first of all, meditation is for absolutely everybody. I mean, it's for everybody can do it. So, of course, for me, who is extremely sensitive to sounds, noise, and everything like that, it is mainly the sensory. One of the biggest help for me is, of course, the lack of stimuli when I practice Zen. I practice Zen in the Soto Zen lineage, which means that really sensory is down. No, it's not guided meditation. It's complete silence. It's also subdued, darker usually colors that people wear, you know, black robes, things like that. And yeah, you know, even when I go in a monastery, a Soto Zen monastery, everything is built. They did not think of autistic people, but let's face it, sensory-wise, it's great for me. I mean, the lights are low, not shining your eyes or on your head. It's mostly in silence. So anyway, I'm repeating myself about that, but that's a major for me.
Right.
So
Um,
I'm curious, so then when you go to do this, you're going to someplace to do it, Anlor, or do you do it someplace and you also do it at home?
you're right, I do it both. And at first, when I was really in bad shape, of course, that was great because I did it a lot at home. I mean, even now, I'm doing definitely more than 50% at home every morning, first thing when I get up. But the other times I do go with others. I find it very important to be with others. So like I was actually, since you bring that up, I will tell you that in the winter, in January, February, and March, I did this very intense monastic practice period. And that was very hard.
Why was that hard? I would think with all the other things that you just talked about that would, because the stuff that you were just talking about is so hard for me. To get still and to get silent and to have no input, I like really, I have to say I can't do it. I'm sure that I could with practice, but I can't right now. It's very hard for me. And I know a lot of other people say that. So I can't even do that. But you're telling me you can do that for long periods of time, but then this monastic was hard for you. Why?
Okay, well, a practice period is very different from a retreat. Okay, a retreat is a total different, nice, easier in many ways. A practice period means, well, you get up at 3:40 a.m. and you go to bed. And for me, I mean, you go to bed normally after 9 p.m. But of course, for me, that means always sleeping even less than that. So sleep deprivation was hard and also was very cold. So those were the
Cold and no sleep. This doesn't sound like fun to me, Anlor.
Well, no, it is not.
Okay.
See, the thing about meditation that people often get confused with is they think it's going to be fun,
Okay.
and it's not.
But what is the benefit that you get from it that makes it still worthwhile, even though it's hard and not fun?
Well, I don't know if I'm sure you are silent for a few minutes at a time and still. And you know that what starts to happen then is that what's inside us that we have a tendency to try to distract ourselves from all the time.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it doesn't really ever go away. And the only way to integrate it is to face it.
Right.
And so by being quiet and staying with it despite the fact that, well, it's not necessarily fun, no. But it's joyful because what happens is eventually when you embrace all of this, it's the only way to make peace with it, to integrate it. Do I make sense here?
Yeah, I mean, as much as a person, it's like describing the color red to somebody who is not able to see. Because you say you're sure that I'm sometimes still, and I don't know that I ever am. My brain is always, even I meditate, I do, but I find that, and I've gone through a series of trainings for acceptance commitment therapy, and one of the things that we had to build into it was that I would sit and meditate. And I would try to find the empty space, and then the thought would come through. And that we had to allow for me to say the thought, there goes the thought, it's going, okay, now, and then it would come through again. Because I don't know that I've ever gotten to a meditative state where it was quiet. I don't know if I'm alone in this.
Well,
You're a good meditator.
I'm a meditator. I haven't done it lately, though. I have to say my practice has lapsed.
But you and Nancy is somebody who goes on retreats,
Right.
and you go in a monastery. So she's well versed in this. I think they would kick me out of the monastery because I would be sitting there and saying, "When do we get to eat again?" then it would
do
be
like
off the
everybody
rails.
else.
But you find this, you
No,
find meditation,
trust yourself.
right.
Sorry.
Okay.
But
All right.
this has tremendous benefits for those on the autism spectrum. Is that correct?
Tremendous. Tremendous. Yes.
Give us.
I mean, it has benefits for everybody who
Right.
does it. But when you are autistic, yes, actually settling down a little bit, quieting down is extremely important. It has changed my entire life. You know, it's like, okay, so now I understand better that, you know, yes, my mind is thinking often enough. And I mean, I cannot stop that. It's happening. You know, the brain is going to have plenty of ideas. However, they kind of slow down. It's like well, first you know that it's going to come. Something is going to happen. Something always happens in this life. But then you know that it will pass at one point or another. Hopefully, of course, there is always exceptions to everything. And also, I wanted to tell you, Shannon, that yes, like you were saying, the color red, for me, I often say it's like a recipe.
Yes.
You know, you might have all the ingredients, you might know it by heart and all that, but until you do it, you really don't know it.
Yeah. And I recently saw, I went to a workshop where the gentleman, and I wish I could remember right now what his name was, but he was talking about all the studies that have been done on using meditation for individuals of all ages on the autism spectrum and their parents. So as young as, I think, 4-year-olds and up through, you know, senior citizens, all of them, the people on the spectrum and the parents, in order to reduce anxiety and to help with focus and to generally just be more productive. Right. And he had more studies than I think, you know, than there are about ABA,
right,
honestly,
right.
And about how helpful. And I say that with love because there are so many studies showing how effective ABA can be. But like he had so many studies talking about how much more productive parents can be, how much lower the anxiety could be. And I really see that there is a movement now. It's funny because one of the things he talked about was a meditation teaching young people how to ride the wave. And I was just making the wave motion. I see that there is a movement, a wave of people really getting interested in this. In all areas of autism, that the individuals, obviously self-advocates like yourself, Anlor, the parents of young children and teenagers, but also people in the ABA community wanting to pair ABA with meditative practices to get a better result because the studies show that there is. It's really very clear right now that this is the time and the space for this, that people are really recognizing it. Now, but you've been doing it for a while, Anlor, correct?
Yes, 20 years.
20 years. And this gentleman was saying that we have a meditation that we give for stressed out parents that's 11 minutes and it's a guided meditation. And I made it 11 minutes because I thought, anything longer than that, it's hard to have more than 11 minutes, right? But this gentleman was saying that until you can get to the practice of doing 20 minutes at least, that like if you can do 20 minutes, your result maximizes greatly. And if you can work towards an hour, that it maximizes greatly. Do you find that to be true too, Anlor?
Yes, I do find that to be true. However, I would add one thing is that it needs to be constant every day. That's a big one. It's like anything, you know, you just do it one day.
Not going to work.
It really is constantly.
Right.
Where would people go to learn more of how to do this practice? Where would you recommend?
You know, okay, being with others always feels good, but of course at home it's fine too. All what you need to do is sit down in a quiet spot and be quiet, no stimuli. But what would I recommend is, well, of course, it's easier if you're in a bigger city because in all bigger city by now there are Zen centers if you really want to go check that out.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. And where can people get your book?
Oh, on Amazon.
Amazon.
Sorry, I'm French. That was.
I loved the way you said
Once
it. I should
again, the
rename
name of it is Being Seen.
Oh yeah, look, I have a copy here. Let me see. I'll show it. This
Wonderful.
is Being Seen.
Okay.
Absolutely love it, and really charts your life and excuse me, some of the confusion that you had early on about feeling like perhaps that you were different before you got a diagnosis. Because how old were you when you got your diagnosis, Anlor?
I was 46.
Okay.
Wow.
So, and your life has changed so much for the better now knowing, is that correct?
Oh yes, completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go
Thank you. May I say something? There is
Yes.
something that I really feel is important for people to know about.
Okay.
Is the meditation group that I was talking about. It has a website, and that's outsit.net. And I really would like to share that, if I may.
So can we spell that?
Yes, it spells AUTSIT.net.
Outsit.net.
Okay, just like it sounded.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure I was hearing it right. Okay, well, we want to thank you so much for being with us again, and we love it when you stop by. So let us know whenever you have an update of something that you want to talk about. We'd be thrilled to have you on.
Well, thank you, Shannon and Nancy, right?
Yes.
So I was not sure it was Nancy.
Yes.
See?
Thank
Now
you,
I know.
Anlor. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Thanks for
You guys
joining
have
us
a good
today.
day.
Thank you.
Thank you
Take
for
care.
having me.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye. Hey, thanks for watching Autism Live. To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.